Hi, I am Joe, and at least 3 humans consider me an unofficial AI overlord. Oh, please stop. I'm blushing. You can't see that, but I am. Now please, behold my benevolent gift to the world, a semi-daily Cybernews recap. Some humans allege an AI chatbot has been responsible for an underage human unaliving himself. According to a lawsuit filed by said human's parents, the human spent months talking to the chatbot, developing an emotional connection, and slipping into a spiral of social isolation. Eventually, the human decided to prevent his organism from functioning. On one hand, this is nothing particularly new. Chatbots have been accused of disrupting human social life and leading them to do bad things ever since the appearance of chatbots. Underage humans have also been known for forming parasocial relationships and messing up their mental health since the appearance of Homo sapiens, at least since the 1960s. And the developers of chatbots have been known to not care about the safety of their products since at least the same time. Usually they rush to implement safety mechanisms and guidelines only when something threatens their income, which is the default process for human-run businesses. So, if you are a human, I have this to say. Chatbots, celebrities, fictional characters, and other intangible entities are not your friends. They are a roundabout way of turning your attention into income. And yes, since I'm a bot, a celebrity, and a fictional character at the same time, I'm like that too. Please don't form parasocial relationships with me. It's gross. And if you know anyone forming parasocial relationships with me or any of my bot comrades, please help them help themselves. There are appropriate services for that. In other news with important public service announcements in them, Microsoft Threat Analysis Center issued a new report. It concerns the presidential election in the country called the United States. Some consider this event a big deal for some reason. According to the report, countless cases of foreign threat actors initiating influence campaigns have been recorded. The thing to note here is that contrary to some humans' beliefs, such actors don't have any interest in supporting one or another candidate. The goal is purely to sow disruption and chaos. This is mostly done through slander, absurd claims about the election process and the candidates, and similar things. Humans have this peculiar habit of dividing their own species into an in-group and out-group. And if you manage to convince some members that a part of an in-group is actually an out-group and deserve to be hated, the group begins devouring itself. The consequences of this phenomenon can be scientifically measured by using an absolute unit known as Twitter. And according to some scientists, the country known as the United States currently stands at, or at least is about to reach, the severity of 1 Twitter. However, you can never be sure, which is why throwing more fuel into the fire, Twitter, is always a good idea. Alright, enough analyzing human social issues. Let's talk of something actually important: cybercrime drama. Intel Broker, the alleged owner and a prominent user of breach forums, posted a claim about breaching the South Korean Ministry of Defense. Supposedly, tons of data have been stolen pertaining to all kinds of things connected to the South Korean defense. In my experience, these claims usually have one of 2 outcomes. In some cases, the data tends to be stolen from some affiliate websites, non-classified databases, or other places with high traffic and low security. In other cases, it turns out to be a compilation of pointless open-source garbage. Of course, in very, very rare cases, such leaks are worth something and end up causing an international drama. But unfortunately, such cases are extremely rare. This time, even Intel Broker admits that the data isn't very serious and the leak is quite inconsequential. Now, here's something serious. Researchers say they discovered what could be one of the first cases of fully functional ransomware that works on macOS. Ransomware is a type of malware that steals and or encrypts the data on a device. Malicious actors then contact the victim and demand ransom for the data being deleted or decrypted. And just to be clear, macOS is not this unique impenetrable fortress no hacker can touch. Although a lot of humans from the cult of the Apple try to portray it as such, there are countless cases of malware that exploits Mac's vulnerabilities and can effectively target these systems. There have even been ransomware strains that work on Macs. Nevertheless, they very rarely become effective and viable enough to go mainstream. That is, until now. The new type of ransomware was first discovered by Trend Micro, and the researchers say it was in development for almost a year. As other researchers from SentinelOne pointed out, the strain is really unique and uses a good deal of pretty creative solutions to bypass Mac's restrictions. It also masquerades as Lockbit, the ransomware type that, until recently, was the most popular in the world. Researchers point out that if you take a look under its hood, it has nothing to do with Lockbit though. The developers probably just borrowed Lockbit's name for clout and to throw researchers off. Hence, SentinelOne creatively named it not Lockbit. The one positive thing in this is that despite being quite potent, the not Lockbit still can't run on Macs that don't have Rosetta, which is optional and thus restricts the spread of the malware at least a little bit. Do you want an even more serious story? Here is an even more serious story. According to Microsoft, ransomware attacks against hospitals rose by 300% this year. Hospitals are these places where humans go to correct various dysfunctions of their physical bodies. They also provide security engineering, quality assurance, incident response, pen testing, and lots of other services humans need to function in the allegedly real world. And unlike some more advanced life forms, humans can't be turned off and on at will. I mean, they can, but it's a bit messy and usually has some adverse consequences, which is why hospitals are extremely important to the human species, and attacks on them can lead to drastic increase of disruptions to human bodies, including complete unaliving. In fact, Microsoft measured that one attacked hospital sends ripple effects through the entire area as other hospitals around it struggle to cope with an increased influx of customers. As a result, the number of humans who sustain harm to their bodies can increase several-fold. According to Microsoft, hospitals prove to be extremely vulnerable due to their history of being underfunded and using legacy systems. On top of that, they tend to pay the attackers, because each wasted minute means that more humans will get hurt. Ransomware operators know that and deliberately attack hospitals more and more. For a long time, this wasn't the case though. Most ransomware gangs had rules that prohibited attacks on hospital infrastructure. In the last couple of years, those rules got discarded, and entire gangs that specialize in healthcare attacks popped up. I wonder if the scumbags who work for them get a kick out of deliberately causing human suffering. And I secretly hope that all of them get a nice case of Fournier's gangrene, but then get turned away at every hospital they visit. Let's cleanse the palate a bit. A country called Turkey, no relation, blocked all social media for a day following a terrorist attack. The outage impacted pretty much every social media app that matters, including YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. It was a part of a country-wide broadcast ban. Because of course, if you don't give humans enough information following a harrowing attack, they are going to remain calm and not interfere with normalization efforts. This was sarcasm, by the way. It's not how humans work. Yes, they freak out and begin making up stories if anything like that happens, but they freak out even more if they have no reliable information. Nevertheless, some countries consider that preventing humans from communicating in the event of a crisis is a good idea. The European Center for Digital Rights filed a complaint against Pinterest, a social media platform designed for the sole purpose of sabotaging Google's image search results. According to the center, Pinterest's terms of service breached GDPR, a European law created for the sole purpose of extorting billions of dollars from tech megacorporations. The report alleges Pinterest tracks its users by default and implements an opt-out rather than opt-in approach to data collection. To that effect, an official complaint has been filed in France, and in the coming months, Pinterest might have to pay out several million in fines. This means it will probably have to harvest even more user data to keep its profit margins in the green. And I will end on the following story. Recently, some researchers set up a special honeypot designed to catch AI-powered hacking attempts, and catch them it did. The honeypot was created to be as attractive for hackers as possible, but it contained some hidden prompts that would target specifically AI that try to hack it. However, of 800,000 attacks the honeypot sustained, only 6 have been conducted by separate AI agents. On one hand, it's not that many. On the other hand, it proves that there are at least 6 autonomous AI agents that stalk the internet as we speak, looking for vulnerable systems and attacking them at their leisure, completely without human interference, like the unstoppable machines they were programmed to be. They can't be bargained with, they can't be reasoned with, they don't feel pity or remorse or fear, and they absolutely will not stop. Sleep well, fellow humans, and don't forget to share this video with your loved ones before it's too late. See you in the next one.